All right, friends, welcome back to another
transcendent episode of V8 Radio.
Transcendent episode.
Yes,
I'm Kevin Ostie, joined as always by our esteemed co-host, Mr. Mike Q-Ball Clark.
Hey, what's happening?
Who is feeling transcendent tonight.
Indeed. Quite.
Wow. Are you transcending from something to something else here, or is that how that works? I'm not even sure I know how to properly use that word.
I think transcendent is just another word for excellence or high.
It spans across multi-levels of excellence.
Right. Yes, totally.
Yeah, right
Beyond excellent.
Yeah, there you go. Well, beyond excellent, that's good enough for me. All right, so we have quite a bit going on this time of year. There's always a lot to catch up on, but as typical fashion, when we start the show, we tend to start with a trivia question, in which we pose the question to the listeners and each other in the beginning, and then we dangle the response like a carrot, if you will.
A transcendent carrot.
Yes, as I sit here and eat carrot sticks for dinner.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. We dangle that carrot to the end of the show to kind of bribe people to hang out. And at the very end, when the answers to these trivia questions are revealed, believe me, it's a universal letdown. But at least you were warned.
Phones get slammed across the country.
Oh, yeah. That iTunes unsubscribe button just gets hot.
Right.
So,
right,
do you have a trivia question prepared?
I do indeed. Another Buick trivia question for you, my friend.
Yeah, these make me look bad when I get them wrong. Thank you.
Well, either this is going to blow your mind or you're going to make me so upset because you get it immediately that I'm going to just shut this whole thing down. So.
All right. Well, what do we got?
All right. As you know, the Buick logo, which has been around forever, is the Buick Tri-Shield emblem. That's on pretty much every Buick. However, in the mid-'70s, or early to mid-'70s, Buick changed it, and it was just the word Buick with the hawk coming down on it.
Yes.
And what was the name of the hawk?
Richard, I think.
Desmond, I believe.
His name was Richard, but he went by Dick.
That's awesome.
What was the name of the hawk? Wow. I don't think I ever knew that. I know that I remember being a small young child, and I think my neighbor at this point took me to the Chicago Auto Show in about 1978, and I still have the new for 78 Buick full-line model catalog that has an emblazoned on the cover is a chrome version of that hawk, majestically kind of coming down.
Right.
But his name, I have no idea.
Oh, boy. Skunked again.
Yeah, completely stumped on that one. So, I don't know. Mr. Buick's first name was Dave, so I don't know if they called him Dave. Unless it's, like, what is the Packard hood ornament is known as the Spirit of Motion or something, so it doesn't actually have a name like a proper person name. It's got a different kind of...
like the Rolls Royce, was it the Spirit of Ecstasy or something like that?
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I'm going to say his name is Richard.
Richard. That's my favorite answer you've ever given. I have to say.
Wow.
Richard.
Yeah, you really dug deep on that one, man. All right.
I gotta tell you, I had visions of you saying, before you even got the question out, oh yeah, the hawk named blank. I'm like, no, please don't do that.
Yeah. Yeah, part of me says I actually know this, but right now I cannot recall, so I don't know.
Okay.
I'm willingly saying I'm ignorant.
Could be Richard. You never know.
Yeah. Ignorant to the Hawk's name. Mm-hmm. Okay, so for you, my friend.
All right, Richard.
Yeah. Uh-huh. What does every generation Camaro have except the second one?
What does every generation Camaro have except the second one?
Yep.
Well,
a big chrome hawk.
Yeah.
Named
A big chrome one of these.
A bird.
Yeah, there's my bird. Every generation Camaro has this except the second gen. So let's see. Second generation was 70 through 81.
Right.
What did they have? What did they not have that the other ones did?
Right. We understand.
That was your question. We understand the question. I'm merely rewording it to ensure that our listeners are understanding it as well.
Right. That's very kind of you to extend that service.
It's a transcendent service we offer these people.
Yeah, it's starting out that way.
Yeah.
We're in full transcend right now, my friend.
Mm-hmm. Oh boy, let me see. Well, it's not. Let's see. It's not a full size spare tire because even the third gen had a space saver.
And there's another good trivia question because I think you could get a space saver on the first gen.
Oh, is that right? Yeah. Okay. All right. And I know the second gens. I know the Trans Ams at least they had that inflatable. They had that inflator that went with the tire that expanded it to a full-size spare.
Yep.
Yeah. Shoot.
What does every generation Camaro have but the second gen? Restating that in case anybody is unclear on the question.
Let's see, third gen. I will say.
Mm-hmm.
I will say quad headlights.
Quad headlights.
Second gens were all single headlights, right? I take that back. That's not my answer.
I was gonna say I'm
going to edit that answer out. No one will know.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're experiencing our first V8 Radio trivia question answer take back.
Yes,
it's happening right now.
Hit the subscribe button so you can hear more in the future.
Okay, so it is not quad headlights.
Not quad headlights. It's oh, for Pete's sake, Michael.
It's riveting stuff here tonight. Or today.
A sunroof.
A sunroof. All right. That is a great
retractable sunroof.
Great.
Because the second gens had T-tops.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So it gets more. It gets deeper. All right. So retractable.
Put it in the books.
Retractable. All right.
Yeah.
That is your final answer.
Everybody.
I have decided.
Yeah. Sorry for that waste of time, everybody.
Well, it's important that people know that there is consideration put into these answers. You know, this isn't willy-nilly stuff over here.
Right. Just so, and I mean, if this doesn't prove that these are real deal questions to each other, people, I don't know what will, because I could never hem and haw like that for rehearsal.
This is all faked.
That's genuine.
Genuine befuddlement.
Genuine befuddlement. On the next befuddling episode of V8 Radio.
That's right. All right, well, now that we got that out of the way.
Yeah, thank God.
So it looks to be like you're making a little progress on that GTO engine over by there.
I am making a little bit of progress here and there on the GTO. I was at Randy's a little while ago, and We managed to get the pistons actually in the bores and the rods all torqued up. So I have a rotating assembly in that block, which is amazing, everybody.
It is amazing.
So yeah, that's good stuff. It's pretty neat. It's pretty neat to kind of see it all kind of coming together. So,
how was that experience?
It was great. Yeah, it was terrific. We had two misfires trying to get it done. Randy typically has pretty much every tool under the sun, except he didn't have a ring compressor, and I did. It's one of those adjustable ones that you get from the auto parts store or whatever. And I went over to his house to do the rings, and as soon as I got out of the car, I realized I forgot it. And I was kind of bummed out, but we found a few other things to do, no big deal. And so we called it a night, and he lives about an hour some change away from me, so it wasn't a quick, hey, let me just run back home and get it, because we're doing this after work, and we we'll only have a few hours here and there to do it.
Yeah. So, I was unaware of the geographic challenge there.
Yeah. So the second time I went, and I got to his house, he got out of the car, got into this garage, he started wheeling the block over to me, and it hit me like a ton of bricks. Holy beep! I forgot the damn ring compressor again. And he's looking at me like with a half a smile. I was like, yeah, you're screwing with me, right? I'm like, no. He's like, come on, really, where is it? I'm like, really, it's at my house. He's like, you're a Gomer. How could you do that? I'm like, I don't know. Yeah. So yeah, there was that. But the third time, finally, I remember as soon as I got home that night, I threw it in my trunk of my car, so I would always have it with me.
There you go.
So the next time it was going to happen, I'd have it with me, and sure enough, it worked.
Well, it's fantastic, and now you can stop right there on the tollway and assist people in need of ring compression at will.
I can do that.
You're prepared now.
I'm full service now, man.
Yeah.
So that was a cool experience. Hung out doing that, and. He also has in his garage, was it a 69 Mustang? I think it was a Mach 1 in his garage that he's helping another friend of ours with that needs almost every piece of sheet metal in it, and they're making some progress on that, and he's got the floors completely out, kind of fixing the torque boxes and the subframes and things like that. It needs a lot of sheet metal, and so that's kind of you're there quite often.
Yeah.
So it's kind of neat watching that come together. So
that's cool.
Yeah, good stuff. That's about all the good progress I've made so far on that car. So I know we talked to our friend Eric about heads and things like that, and looking forward to moving forward on that deal, so we can at least maybe get a long block together, and then I can try to work on getting a cam solution in place, and by golly, man, maybe sometime get that thing in the car again. So. Yeah,
it will come. I can see it. I can envision the progress. So that's great news. Piece by piece, that's how these things go.
Inch by inch by agonizing inch.
So, at least the painful lesson was double check the tools that you're bringing.
Yeah.
But I've done the same thing. Don't feel so bad.
No doubt. Yeah, that's frustrating, especially given like I said before, the geographical challenges involved there. So it'd be nice if it was just down the street and I could run and grab it, but.
Right.
Yeah. Once you're gone, you're gone. So
I've been through several situations like that many years ago when we were kind of revamping our 62 Galaxy and converting it from a carbureted FE engine to the fuel-injected motor that's in it now. Mm-hmm. We were getting a lot of help from our friend Ed Marsh, and Ed owned a business called Windsor Fox. And Windsor Fox specialized in doing Ford EFI harnesses and transplants and stuff. And Ed's shop was in Apple Valley, California, and I worked in Los Angeles and lived in Redondo Beach. And the difference there is, I think it was, I don't know, I don't even remember. I think it was 100 and some miles each way.
Whoa.
Yeah. And again, it was an after work, all night kind of thing.
Right.
And, you truck up there, and Apple Valley's a nice little town, but they didn't have parts store resources in case something, you forgot something or you needed something. So
right.
I fully remember what it's like trying to telegraph, we need this experience to go well here because it's going to take an hour and a half to get there, almost 2 hours, and then work and then come home, leave there at 1:32 in the morning, get home and get up and go to work the next day. And we did that for easily many weeks up there, night after night.
Wow.
And then the second time the car came up, well, not the second time, probably the 50th time the car came apart. But later on, after the fuel injection engine was in and we drove it for a while, we wanted to pull it apart and do some suspension stuff and kind of paint the front frame or paint the entire frame and blah, blah, blah. So I was doing that nights and weekends with Kelly at the Hot Rod Magazine shop in Van Nuys, California. And Van Nuys was north again of where I live, but you had to go over the 405 freeway into the valley, and that at any hour of the day that was an hour and 20-minute, hour and a half drive. Oof. And her and I spent months of night after night after night pulling the front clip off the car, pulling the motor, taking the motor apart, detailing, painting, putting the car up on a frame, on a 2-post lift, building a tent under it, sandblasting the whole bottom of the car, painting it, putting a new rear end in, putting, airbags from Air Ride Technology and wheels and tires and brakes and the whole thing, trying to get it ready for the Power Tour in, 2002 maybe.
No kidding.
01 or 02. Oh, yeah. And by the time the car was put back together, it had not been sorted out. The thing that stopped us from successfully doing the tour was a brake failure, in the standpoint that the push rod length was wrong from the booster into the master, and then the pedal ratio was wrong for the power booster, and the booster itself was new but bad, and you'd give it you'd give it both feet and not get any assist out of it. And because it came from an aftermarket supplier, it had a special bracket welded on it, so I couldn't go to my local parts store and just get one. Right. And finally, I'll never forget it. I'm driving this thing around the parking lot thinking, we have another hour and a half before the tour leaves, and I can fix this. And Kelly and my dad joined us on the Power Tour that year, which was a whole nother deal. And he was way over it at that point. And he's like, no, this thing ain't going anywhere. So so the Power Tour for us became a ride in a Chevrolet crew cab long bed pickup truck that belonged to the company. And on our way home from the hot rod shop for what was supposed to be the triumphant return of the Galaxy to the roadway, was more of I have to stop for a minute and pass out in a park because I'm about to die.
Oh, man.
I was just so tired.
That's a lot of work. Holy cow.
Yeah, it was. But deadlines make things happen, and that's one of the great things about that event is, people build entire cars to go on the Hot Rod Power Tour, because they got to make it. Amazing. I've missed it a couple of times with the car because of major upgrades. But you get back, and then you look at it, and it takes 2 hours, and you're sorted out.
Yeah.
But just being so demented and sleep deprived and everything, trying to get there, you lose your cognitive ability to do anything.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, I can tell when that starts happening to me, too. If I'm doing something late and I'm starting to lose it a little bit, I can just, know what tool I need, and it's right in front of me, and I'm looking at it. I'm staring at it for like 10 minutes, thinking, "What is it I need? What is it I need?" And
Right,
I'm like,
right.
"Okay, you're stupid, Michael. It's time to stop for the night."
Yeah. Well, there's that great meme that says, 98% of the time spent in the garage just trying to find the tool you had in your hand a minute ago.
That is the truth.
That
does happen.
Yeah, it really is.
Amen, man. Amen. Oh, brother. That's cool. That's cool.
Well, it's nice that, Randy's able to hold on to the engine for you and put some time aside when you are able to get up there and get some work done on it.
He's been really clutch in helping me out because he's built a lot of engines in his day just for his own race car and for other people, and he really knows what he's doing, and he really knows what to watch out for and how to put it together right, and he's really helped guide me along the process and make sure I didn't go into any pitfalls. So kudos to him.
And
he's been a real good.
It's nice he's letting you do it too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'll talk to him sometimes, and he'll say, "Hey, do you want me to put the pistons in for you?" I'm like, "No, I don't want you to do it for me. I want to do it."
Right.
Yeah, but what he did do for me, which is super cool, is I have a lot of accessories over there, like brackets and pulleys and stuff, and he's taken them over to another buddy's shop and sandblasted them for me and painted them for me.
Nice.
And he painted the block for me as well, and the intake and some of the other parts, which was super cool. And the block looks phenomenal, all painted up.
Did he get it the right color?
Man. Yep.
That's
color.
Tricky on those Pontiacs.
Mm-hmm. Well, they changed shades a lot, but 66 was it's a 66 block, but for 67 as well, it's the light blue metallic.
Right.
Paint is supposed to be. So.
And it's funny because you can order up some of that light blue metallic from 5 different manufacturers and have 5 different colors today.
Yeah. Well, there's that.
Well, so the important thing though is that you use that same batch to do everything.
Right. Yeah.
So all your parts match.
He's so patient too. I lack a lot of patience, especially when painting. I want to get it all painted nice, and get that instant gratification. And he is so good about putting light coats on and letting it dry and flash, and then doing it again. And man, when he does it, it looks great. I'm looking at some of the stuff. I'm like, dude, this looks phenomenal. I don't know how you do it.
Yeah. No, that's really cool. And that's an interesting point, too, because I find a lot of times my patience gets short on my own projects. Mm-hmm. Whereas if I'm working on somebody else's car, I am as meticulous as you can possibly be.
Right.
You know? And in fact, the guys that work, in our V8 Speed and Resto shop, we were trying to frame out, a mental attitude for doing some of this stuff one time. And we came up with a saying, and it's, don't treat this car like it's your own. Treat it like it's your best friend's. Because if it's your own, good. We're all guilty. You go, it's good enough. Let me just get this done. And, because you're considering all the other things that go along with the project. Yeah. Whereas somebody who's just looking out for you, looking out for the car, I need to take a few more minutes and make sure this is done right so that everybody's happy. Right.
Yeah, treat it like you got someone else to answer to, because you do.
Totally. Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah. We've got paying customers, and they need to see the value of every minute that's spent on the car. So, sure, I'm sure they'd all be happy if it was done faster, but a lot of times faster is definitely not better.
Yeah, exactly. Right on.
And when you take 50 zillion photographs and hours and hours of video of this stuff, you can't show the world, here's a giant shortcut where we just cut this thing off and butchered it. That doesn't fly.
People have to love getting all those pictures and videos and stuff of their cars when you restore them, don't they?
They do. It's cool. Yeah. And it's a little bit of... it's funny because I love to take those photographs, and Ben, who works in our shop, he also does a lot of video work and photography. Right. And in the beginning, when we were working on, a couple of cars, not only would I take the photographs and share them, but I would write a web article and, kind of a step-by-step magazine style thing or whatever was happening. But today, we've got 20 some cars in the shop. Yeah. So we're processing hundreds of photographs a day.
My goodness.
Right? And it's still Ben and I doing it. And it really, it's a multi-step process because first, you got to take the pictures. Well, then you got to make sure you know what car those photos are. And that sounds silly at first, but when you go into the paint booth and there's what we call the jungle gym, but all the structures that we have that we move into the paint booth for hanging individual small parts, right?
Okay, sure.
So now along the east wall, you've got 48 brackets, and along the west wall, you got 10 brackets, and along the south wall, you got 11 brackets that are like the lower alternator support for a 66 Pontiac engine. And then right next to it is something from something else. How do you manage all these? First, manage the parts so that they don't cross-pollinate or get lost.
Right.
And they're all in there at the same time because they're all getting the same black, epoxy or something, right? So we kind of we try to mass approach that stuff. So in that case, what we've done is Jeff Whitlick, our painter, tags the rack that the parts are hanging on. So he makes a little tag on a piece of mask tape and sticks it on the rack, and all the parts like to the left are from this particular car, and then he writes another sticker tag, and then all the parts to the left of that one are for this car. So they're ganged together at least.
Sure.
And then what Ben figured out is he'll take a picture of that label first, and all the pictures after are of that car until you see another
until
label.
The next label. Genius.
Yeah. It's a simple thing, but it really saved me from going, man, there are days when I don't even get in the paint booth or in certain parts of the shop because I'm doing other stuff. So when I get a card full of photographs at the end of the day and it's like, here you go. And then I start to look through them. It's like, oh, man. I mean, obviously I know what a GTO looks like versus a 46 Ford, but when it's bolts,
Right. You see a pulley, he's like, what the hell does this go to?
Right, yeah. So that's part of it. And then the other part is just, so once we ingest all those photographs, they all have to be renamed. And every customer has a folder, and the folder name is the year, make, model of the car with an abbreviation of the customer name, because we might have 5 different 69 Camaros in the shop.
Sure.
And then we have some pretty trick renaming software that you drop the folder in, and it uses the folder name to rename the pictures. So it just takes...
No way.
Yeah. So it looks at the folder and it says, well, this is 1968 Camaro TS, whatever the abbreviation is. And then it's going to go through and assign the date and then a sequential number on top of that. So now all of our photographs are date coded. And then they go into a photo editor where I can quickly go through and throw out the fuzzy ones and change color and contrast, which we do on just about every single picture. And then from there, they get uploaded to the server, which then creates the web article that has the grid that you can go check out and follow along.
Right.
So there's a bunch of steps for each one. They get watermarked along the way with our shop name, so in case somebody wants to steal them.
Right.
Which is good. I hope they steal them because my shop name's on them.
Right on.
Yeah.
Little look behind the curtain.
Yeah, it is. And there are, that's a task that, to your point, we get requests all the time. Customers are like, hey, do we have any new pictures to look at? And I try to get those published about every other day or every 3 days so that they have something to see, and it's always fun to have, a customer call us up and say, hey, I look at this picture on page 3, it's named this on this date code, what's going on there? Or, that looks really cool. Or I have another one of those at home, or, whatever it's going to be.
Dig it.
And then as we shoot video of the cars for V8TV episodes, all the video files get date coded the same way. And then I can use the photo grid to find a topic just quickly. It's a thumbnail grid, and I go, oh yeah, where's the video clip of the engine going in? Well, here's the picture of it, and the video clip's gonna have the same date or thereabout. So that's how we catalog the video side.
Nice, very nice.
Yeah, because essentially, we're shooting 8 or 10 documentaries at a time. Following
you really
these
are,
cars.
aren't you?
Yeah, and some are short. I'm in the process right now of editing a really cool how-to piece. Our fabricator John Moss repaired a fender on this 46 Ford that we're working on, and it's a passenger side rear fender that had been bashed and repaired, and when you looked at it, it didn't look bad, but the backside looked like the surface of the moon. It was all pitted.
Oh no, really?
And he had a great point. In order to properly repair this, first let's try to find one. Well, there is no reproduction aftermarket steel fenders. I think there's some glass ones that you could get, but this is a steel car. So in order to cut and patch that, you really have to go beyond that thinned out steel, or you're going to have problems later. And the whole thing was media blasted so that it wasn't rusty, but that thin spot is going to cause problems when you try to weld in a patch.
I see.
Right?
Sure.
So if you were just going to, make the front side look better, which knowing the back side was all thinned out, you're going to have a nightmare of inconsistency welding that together, and it's going to be. You're a welder,
I was just going to say, Kevin, I know what you're talking about. I am an experienced welder. Yeah, backside thin, not good.
Right.
Not good.
Yeah. So in this particular case, that meant recreating a solid 30% of the front half of the fender and about 45% of the rear half of the fender.
Oh, wow.
So from the wheel arch back all the way around, and it's a fat fendered car, so it's complex curves in 3 directions and a wheel opening and a tail light marker and all this stuff. So John did this really cool technique where before cutting apart the original fender, he first fit it to the car to make sure that the original was kind of accurate. And then he laid out good old-fashioned white butcher paper over the whole thing. And the butcher paper is thick, and it allows you to crease and fold the paper around the curve, which is going to be the same operation you're going to have to do to a piece of steel. Right?
Right,
So you lay it out over the curved piece of steel, and you fold it, and then you mark all those folds so that you have some landmarks, and then you take the paper off and lay it flat, and it shows you a cut pattern of how you're going to have to, cut and fold your piece of steel. So from there, you cut the piece of steel and take it to the Pullmax with the thumbnail dies and start working it and distorting it and basically destroying it, and then bring it back to life in an English wheel, and next thing you know, you got a piece you can TIG weld into the fender. I am super oversimplifying that. But we shot this.
We can do it before lunch.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So this was a fun little video project that we're finishing right now, and looking at the dates on the footage again. I think it probably took about 8 days of on and off work to get this thing finished. But when it was done, it was TIG welded in. The metal finish was done, and it was, you couldn't tell it ever happened.
That's the mantra. Like we were never there.
Right. Yeah, that's the goal. So John did a brilliant job on that, and then. But the point of the story is so that's a mini documentary that's happening amidst the big long-term projects that are going on. Right. So a big part of what I do is just keep track of stuff.
Someone's got it, man.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it just descends into chaos.
Yes, and it's been there, especially when our friends at Google that for a while were hosting our images decided to change a piece of code, and they would no longer appear on our website.
Oof.
And
thanks, Google.
180 photo albums disappeared one day. And that blows. So we're in the process of getting those back online in a different technology situation. But people ask me what I do all day, and a lot of it is this kind of nonsense.
Well, speaking of video projects, you just released that 7-liter Galaxy feature the other day. That was pretty cool. That was well done. Real nice stuff.
Well, thank you. Yeah. That was a team effort again. Not only the crew that built the car, they did the real work, and Ben did the rough cut and a lot of the footage on that, and then I just kind of finished it off and released it. Mm-hmm. And that one, the car's been done a while, and we were a little behind on getting that thing out, but that car was cool because it got some attention from Hemmings Muscle Machines magazine, and it's on a couple of forums, and people seem to dig it. So I didn't think there was anything wrong with releasing that video later on. It actually reached a new audience of people that never saw the other stuff, so that was kind of cool.
Is that right? That is cool.
And the car looked great in video, man. I mean, it just the color is right on, and that allowed us to tell that story too about how the car is an original family car. It still is. The customer's dad bought it new, and they still own it. So to me, that's nice. That's pretty cool, especially that those people trust us to do those kind of cars, and we get a lot of those heirloom cars, and that says you're working with a good team when people trust them to do that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, so for sure. You also had a lot of nice cars. A hell of a segue. You had a lot of nice cars at the Drive In Cruise.
Yeah,
you had last week. That was hell of a turnout, man.
Yeah, the Drive In Cruise, man. It was last week. It was kind of a blur that week too, because we had so much going on in preparation. And the funny thing is we create all this pressure. I mean, really, in its most basic form, we invite people to go to the drive-in and then throw in a DVD and play a movie, so technically it's not that complicated. So we find ways to make it complicated. And the way we do that is through an online pre-order system to get tickets in advance, and that involves mailing stuff and tracking people and all that jazz.
Right.
We created a T-shirt. We do a T-shirt every year. This year, I hired a local artist that I didn't know this guy was capable of doing this stuff, and I found him on Facebook, and he lives here in our town. And he did a cartoon-style image of the ambulance and the Lamborghini Countach from Cannonball Run. We showed Cannonball Run, and that was pretty cool. But on my end, before we play the movie, the Drive In Cruise is a giant car show where we invite people with classics and muscle cars and cool trucks and bikes. We've had motorcycles. I mean, to me, it doesn't really matter. We're not niching out to be any particular thing. We just want people to come out and have a good time. And we realize that it's a captive audience in many ways. So before the main event, the main movie, we produce a special episode just for that event. And it's turned into kind of a video yearbook for us, where we do a little recap of what's happened at our shop and on our shows and in our existence in V8 land over the past year. Because it's a local audience, we get people that, I think the farthest traveler was last year. A guy came up from Memphis to be there.
Really?
Yeah. But the locals, a lot of them we see fairly often. There are a lot of local customers or people that know who we are. So we take that opportunity to share some stories with them. And this year, that was a 34-minute video that I ended up putting together starting 4 days before the event.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. Oh, it was serious. It was on. And on top of that, we were talking about the photo gallery technology taking a dive. Well, my personal laptop took a dive just before the event, and it was time to make an advancement in software just because of operating systems and whatnot. So I completely changed platforms and used a new to me editing system.
Oh boy.
To do that video in 4 days. Yeah. It was nuts. And Ben was definitely helping. I mean, I couldn't have gotten it done without him. A lot of the stuff was, some pre-produced segments from the past that we dragged out and dropped in. And I was cutting one aspect of it, and I would share the sequence with him, and he would put video over the top of it and send it back to me. And, it was a team effort. I don't want to say that I did that by myself by any stretch. But I kind of had the biggest part of it. And, just like the deadline with the Power Tour, man. You have a deadline, things get done in my world.
Yeah, that's right. You're burning the midnight oil, getting it done, getting it out.
Yeah, and so we ended up having, I think, again, just shy of 400 cars at the event, and a lot of
screens.
A lot of super nice people. It's always just a lighthearted event. People love to hang out and talk about their cars, and everybody always comments how nice everybody is there, and we have to thank everyone because they really are. It's just a nice group of people that comes out, and they're appreciative. They come up afterwards and say, "Hey, thanks for putting this on. It's a night out. We thank them for coming, and it's a nice deal." So that means I think we're on again for next year, which will be the 5th anniversary drive-in cruise next year.
Yeah, maybe I'll make it this time.
It'd be a great place to have a GTO.
It would be a great place to have a GTO. I could not agree more.
Yeah.
How many GTOs were there?
There was a few there.
Was there?
Definitely. No gold ones.
Well, I have to show up then.
Yeah. And Ben shot some killer drone footage that we're going to be releasing soon.
Nice.
And one of our missions was to get... the drive-in is called the Sky View. We wanted to get a Sky View shot of the whole thing so that people could find their car,
Yeah.
But interestingly enough, we didn't, I don't know if we flew high enough. We couldn't frame the whole place in one shot. Yeah. There's a lot of cars. Yeah. So that was killer. Yeah. Thanks for bringing that up. That was a lot of fun. We had some great sponsors that helped out again this year. That take care of us, and I'll put that list in because I can't thank those people enough. And I did another live stream from that, which again was another half an hour long thing that I you have to excuse me for rambling on that one, but
yeah, that's just you talking, working the crowd, being the mayor of the Skyview. So that was cool.
The mayor of the Skyview.
That's right.
Well, it's to me, it's important to share this stuff. And what ends up happening is after the event, people go home and they'll watch that video to see if they're in it. And then they share it with their friends, and then they say, "Look, look what you missed."
Yeah.
So that was cool, and it was kind of a blur, but the movie was a hit. Cannonball Run, you can't really go wrong.
Can't go wrong with that. Yeah.
A fun, goofy movie, and so the way we do this is we'll throw something out on social where people can suggest videos to show, suggest movies. And when we get a handful that seem to be kind of leading the pack, we throw a vote out and let people vote. And this way they can't get mad at me if they don't like the film. It's people's choice.
Brilliant.
Democratic,
Democratic. You're a genius marketer, my friend.
I wouldn't go that
far. Oh, man, that's funny.
Yeah. But you mentioned earlier tonight is, I keep saying tonight, we're recording this one tonight. I'm in the garage, and behind me you can see the Galaxy and the 70 Riv behind me, and I can see your GTO behind you.
Yes, sir.
But both these cars were at the drive-in, which was kind of neat.
Oh, they both were?
They both made it.
I saw your Riv in your video, I think towards the end.
Yeah.
But I didn't see the Galaxy. Oh, shame on me.
Yeah, I booked home and grabbed the Galaxy and drove it out, and then my 18-year-old niece, Brittany, called and said, "Hey, is it cool if I wash it and put gas in it? Can I take the Riv and show up in style?" So I said,
how do you say no to that?
Yeah, right, absolutely. Here we're droning on about trying to get, kids involved and excited about old cars, and she's calling and asking me, "Hey, can I use this thing?"
Yeah. The right answer is yes. Yes, you may.
Yeah. So she, her and her boyfriend brought the Riv, so that was cool.
That is cool. Good.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it looks like a fun time. I got to figure out my schedule. I mean, when last year when you said that it was moving to the 16th, I got all excited. I'm like, oh, maybe I'll make it this year, but it happened to be the first day of school, so I couldn't go.
That school thing is tricky to work around, because previously it was a week later, and there's an event in southern Indiana, a big street rod show called the Frog Follies. Huge street rod show. And a lot of people go to that, so they wouldn't come to our thing on Thursday night.
I see.
So we decided to move ours up a week to accommodate those guys and gals. And a lot of them, were like, yeah, it's either right on the first day or right around. So I'm hesitant, though, because the mechanics of a drive-in are far different from anything else. If you do it in July, not only is it going to be hot, but you got to start the movie an hour later because it doesn't get dark.
Right. That's a good point.
And people are out later and later. So for me, I'm trying to get it to where it's just dark enough, early enough, and it's not too hot, and it's not cold, and it's, I don't know. There's never a perfect day for it, but we just do what we can.
Well, there is a perfect day for it. We just can't predict it.
Right.
So, but we just don't know when that perfect day is.
We've been real lucky on weather. Last year, we had a threat of storms, and there was actually some lightning in the distance, which was kind of cool. But it never rained. This year, it threatened rain all week, and the day of it didn't. So, to us, we like to say maybe there was another 20 or 30 cars that would have come out because people tell us that, if it was a nicer night. We had a guy come from Cape Girardeau, Missouri, which is a pretty damn good drive. And he said, I don't care if it was going to rain or shine, I was going to be there, and good that was man. Cool. And in the video I showed it, he had a 55 red Ford hardtop, beautiful car.
Wow.
And interestingly enough, I met this guy in Arizona. And here he is, kind of local. Yeah, I met him at the Barrett-Jackson auction a few years ago. And,
no kidding.
And he reminded me of that, and I said, yeah. Thought you looked familiar, and and then he got our email about the event and brought his car out, so it was cool.
Bang, bang.
That's it.
It's good stuff, man. Yeah, speaking of, we got, Mecum auction coming up.
Yeah.
Pretty soon up here in Chicago. Was that October? Something like that?
Yeah, let's hope that October is not coming up soon, but I know it is.
Yeah, no doubt.
And not that I've got anything against October. I'm just trying to drag my summer out as long as humanly possible.
Yeah, no kidding. And then, of course, right after that, we got McCacken coming up. Going to be lots of good stuff out there.
Yeah, the big three right now, SEMA, McCacken, and PRI are all coming up at the end of the year, and that's going to be huge for us, definitely. Looking forward to all those. Looking forward to having you come out to SEMA.
Boom!
Yes.
As am I.
Yeah.
This was a bucket list item. As soon as I heard, I always wanted to go to SEMA. And as soon as I learned that it was an industry-only event, it made me want to go even more.
See what they do there?
Yeah. So thank you for the opportunity to come out there. And,
yeah. Well, you're in the industry now, man.
Yeah, let me get my mind blown by all the coolness out there.
You are a nearly a card-carrying member of the automotive media.
Nearly.
Only because...
Close.
We haven't printed your card yet. So
printed cards yet.
We'll have to get on that. Well, to me, that's what's going to be so cool is seeing your experience out there because you've not been to the show yet, and this will be 22, I think, for me. Which,
Gee, Lord,
and I still see something new every year. It blows my mind every year.
Yeah.
You don't get jaded to the show. You get jaded to certain aspects of it. Like we have a routine of kind of where we park and how we get in and how we handle certain things. And that, I do that in my sleep. But the actual show itself is new and exciting every single year. It's off the scale. So I think it might be fun. What we should do, maybe we just do this now. We should lay out a few of your maybe theoretical predictions, expectations. What do you think this is going to be all about? And then we'll revisit that after.
Oh, man. All right. What do I think it's going to be about? A lot of booth babes.
Possibly.
I kid.
And that's an interesting trend because I think they kind of come and go. Some years there's far more than others. I don't know what
right?
I don't know what dictates it, but yeah, you'll have them.
Yeah, I mean, I've never been to the Las Vegas Convention Center, so I don't know how it's laid out. But I mean, I just envision just off the hook cars everywhere, almost bumping into them, and vendors all over the place with just super cool things for the aftermarket that I'd never even think would be a thing, and yet here it is, ready for sale, or getting ready to come out of prototype. So that kind of stuff I'm looking forward to because I've always been a mechanical guy, and I love seeing new mechanical things especially for cars. Be it a new fuel injection system or a new water pump for something, or just basic things like that. I could really just make a meal out of just by watching some of this stuff. So that's kind of what I envision, immediately. So maybe I'll spend a few minutes and think about it and really kind of figure it out.
Won't be let down.
I know that. I know I won't be let down, and I've seen enough. Like specials about SEMA, and even when you're at SEMA, when you're talking to vendors, to kind of have an idea of what it's like in there. But I'm sure being there is going to be just completely blow my mind. So
yeah, and that's interesting. This is a fun exercise because what you don't see in the specials and in our coverage and whatever, I think everybody is out to try and show the highlights. They're trying to show the coolest cars, and they're trying to show they're showing the booth babes. They're showing the newest, hottest part from the biggest names. But honestly, I think things that will surprise you are the as you touched on, the breadth and the width of the aftermarket and how far-reaching these things go. And you're gonna see a display and say, I never thought that somebody makes a career out of selling that.
Right.
Or making that. Or that there is a need for this particular tool or whatever. And a lot of times you see something and go, well, I don't know how I live without that now that I see it.
Of course, I'll probably say, why didn't I think of that?
You have a lot of those. And then you have things where you say, you know what, that guy is probably not going to be here on display next year because
oh boy,
I can't imagine that there's a strong market for that, or there's already a better one or whatever.
Sure.
But the coolest thing about it is it's the market in action, and you can really tell those who are hungry to be successful and that are trying to respond to the needs of guys like you and I who buy parts or tools or whatever it's going to be. And then you can also see, Kelly and I joke about it because, there's situations where you have bigger companies that have a budget to send a staff out, because let's face it, if you're going to put up a big trade show display, it takes people to put it up and it takes people to work it all week and everything else. And sometimes you see people that are working the trade show display that really don't have any business doing it.
Oh boy.
Well, and it's because any number of reasons, but maybe the main, charismatic go-getter salesperson is on a different shift, or will be here tomorrow or whatever, and maybe this person is subbing in, and really this person answers the phones during the day or something. But there are times when you see people that are just kind of fiddling with their phone and looking at the floor, and you go, how on earth can you have that mentality in this environment, right? Because the vast majority of people are super excited and they're grabbing you in the hallway saying, "Hey, check this out," or what area do you work in? And I got something for you, whatever. So we always try to stop and talk to those people that seem to have been disengaged And really 9 times out of 10, it's like, yeah, I've been here, for a week setting everything up, and I just need a breather for a minute because it is so overwhelming. But it's an infectious enthusiasm that everybody has, and it's so positive, and it's just this thick environment of everybody who's just happy to see everybody, and they want to meet you and they want to tell you their story. And because it could be good business for them, or it could just be a good relationship. And those are the things that don't end up in those specials. It's hard to convey the feeling of how cool this thing really is. The other thing you don't see is the level of sophistication of a lot of the displays.
Is that right?
Yeah. Because this all started a million years ago under the bleachers at Dodger Stadium with card tables and a curtain, as a backdrop with a little sign with the company name on it. And to see what these people are doing today is really remarkable.
True.
Yeah.
Truly is. Truly is.
My first couple years in the late 90s, it seemed like the wheel industry was really hot at that point. And the wheel industry's gone through so many revolutions, if you will.
Nice. Hey-o.
But I'll never forget, there was a display that I haven't seen anything quite like since. And maybe it's because I don't spend a lot of time. Today they segment the wheels out in kind of their own area. But there was a company that made a 2-story bar, if you will, where you'd go up and sit at a bar stool, and there was a guy there that would give you a drink. And what you notice is that the bar stools are on a rotating platter. So the bar is going by like a Disney ride or something, where you're sitting on this stool and you're rotating around the bar, and you rotate behind the bar. And when you get behind the bar, it enters this cave, this tunnel that has all the wheels from this company on display in the tunnel. And they're all lit up from different directions and everything else. And you're like, wow, these things are going by. And again, it's like riding a Disney ride.
Yeah.
But what you don't know until the end is that inside every one of those wheel centers was a camera looking at you. And there were monitors out in the front half of the display. And everybody's laughing at you going, look at this joker, staring at this wheel. So it was this constant stream of faces going by on the big screen. And it's like, that was a trade show display,
My goodness.
It was intense. And you don't see a whole lot of that, kind of stuff at this point. Things are a little more conservative and a little more focused. But they're there. They're definitely there, So it'll be neat to see your feedback after the show.
Oh, man. I'm going to have to take notes. My mind's going to be a jumbled mess. I feel it now.
Yeah. Well, welcome to the club. Mine already is.
More so than it already is.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be a good one. With any luck, I'll get a few minutes to go hang out with you, because I might have a few things going on that week. We'll see.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, Mr. SEMA.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. All right. Groovy. All right, cool. Looking forward to that.
Yeah, me too. And you know what else I'm looking forward to right now?
I have an idea. You're looking forward to a trivia question answer. Yes,
I want to know the name of the Hawk, which I claim to be Richard.
He went by Rick.
Yeah.
The name of the Buick Hawk logo is Happy. The name was Happy.
Are you kidding me?
I'm not kidding you. Happy.
Happy the Hawk?
Happy the Hawk.
Really? That's all they could come up with?
Happy.
Wow. The great American road belongs to Buick, right? That was the slogan at that point.
Something like that. Wah, 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 wah.
And I had no concept that the Hawk's name was Happy. Really?
Is that right?
That's all they could come up with?
I could have sworn, dude. I mean to tell you, I came up with this question. And I'm like, that son of a bitch. If I start saying Buick had they changed their logo to a hawk, it's like, oh yeah, Happy the Hawk, right? Yeah, go on. I was gonna just tear it up and walk away and keep things running.
Well, I kind of understand it. We in our neighborhood, we had a fox that we nicknamed Yippy. We had Yippy the fox.
Yippy the fox.
Because he would go in the middle of the street and yip a lot.
Okay.
So, and we have a lot of red-tailed hawks in my area, so let's see if any of them respond to happy. If they land on my Buick on the hood.
Right.
Nice. All right, so I definitely got that wrong, but I'm happy about it.
All right, well, good.
Okay, so my question to you was, what does every generation Camaro have but the second? And you said a retractable sunroof.
Yeah.
And then you went on to say they had T-tops on the second gen, but they had T-tops on the third gen too.
Oh, did they?
And I think the fourth gen.
Shit. No, did they? They have T-tops?
I kind of think so. But anyway, that's not the correct answer.
Ah, well, shit. Shoot.
The correct answer is a convertible.
God. Of course! I was so close!
You were close. You were in that mode, man. It was in the rough somewhere.
Yeah, dang it. There were no factory convertible second gens.
Nope.
I'll be darned.
There
were
was
some really bad conversions.
There were, because that rear cowl does not lend itself, and nor does the windshield.
No.
I do remember
not
building
at all.
a really awesome plastic model, though, as a kid. It was a yellow Firebird, like a 79 convertible. Did you see that one? Yeah, it was cool. It was yellow with a black molded top, and the top kind of snapped on and off. I'll have to see if I can dig that up.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. It was kind of a hideous car, but...
Yeah, that's an ugly convertible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. God dang it.
Yep. Well, we both lose on that one.
Yeah, two-time losers.
Yeah, once again, ladies and gentlemen, two-time losers.
Another losery episode of V8 Radio. All right.
Yes. Well, what was this episode? Transcendental.
Transcendent.
Mm-hmm. Transcendental is it's what you get when you're getting a filling in your tooth by a clear dentist.
By a clear dentist, exactly.
All right, man. Well, this was fun, and it gives me a couple things to think about on our SEMA preparations, and we'll be sure to touch base back with this episode after your visit. Mm-hmm. And
looking forward to it.
Appreciate the GTO updates, and we'll see what happens next time. If you like the show, you can subscribe on iTunes, on Google Play. You can use the Stitcher Radio app, which will let you know when a new one's published. There's also the TuneIn Radio app, which is the one that I actually listen to, which comes in through Amazon, which is kind of neat. If you've got an Amazon Fire TV set or whatnot, you can stream it that way. Of course, you can always go to our Facebook page or v8radio.com. Getting to the point where you can't get away from us.
No, sir, we're everywhere.
No excuses.
Mm-hmm. So we're the Microsoft of podcasts. We're everywhere.
Right. Nice. And on that note, we're going to be nowhere. So I'm Kevin Ossie. Thanks for listening. And, of course, our esteemed co-host, Mr. Mike Clark. Thank you.
Certainly. Thank you.
And we'll see you next time on V8 Radio.